For keeping it here on KTN Business Today. Now, we want to switch gears and talk about agriculture and agriculture production. My guest this afternoon is Manoj Shah. He's the CEO of Osha Industry. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us here, Jimmy.
All right, now, first things first, let's just talk about the demand for agricultural chemical. How has that changed over the years?
The small-scale sector has really grown leaps and bounds, and that's also the biggest employer, self-employed people in this country. So small-scale has really grown, and the demand for smaller packs, affordable packs, working chemicals has increased drastically.
Now, the big conversation currently globally is the issue of sustainability, and we are seeing a lot of farmers moving away from agricultural chemicals to organic farming. How has that interrupted your business?
Biological is not a complete solution. It is a prophylactic, meaning preventive, and you'll still need the other chemicals to use because we are in a tropical climate where our pest and disease pressures are quite different. So it can be an integrated approach, a mixture of everything for us to have the productivity that we need.
Mm-hmm. Now, again, still on those lines, there's the question of what are some of the specific issues and challenges that are related to agricultural sector as far as agricultural chemicals are concerned?
A bit of counterfeit problem is there. A bit of misuse of chemicals is also there because the extension work that used to be on the ground has reduced drastically over the years. The Minister of Agriculture perhaps has limited finance, so the activities that they used to do is now not as vibrant as it used to be, but I'm told they're coming back with some options there. So misuse of chemicals, overuse of chemical is part of the problem. And the big choice of availability is also confusing the farmer, which is a good thing in terms that there is a lot of availability, but also people are experimenting and causing. They are not observing the pre-harvest intervals, they are not observing the residue levels, which are very critical on our export crops. So we do have some challenges there.
Now, Mr. Shah, there has been a lot of concerns in terms of what Kenyans are consuming. And much as we're talking about lack of food, there are those that are then turning to chemical products to be able to fasten the process, the maturing process. Maybe, how big of a problem is this?
I don't think it's a very big problem, but you see, chemicals are never used for maturing. It is for controlling insect and pest. Mm-hmm. Nutrition is another subject which we need to concentrate because our soils are getting depleted and we really need to rejuvenate the soils. The problem is we have very good regulations within the country, but implementation, enforcement is sometimes a problem. You will see a lot of crop grown along the rivers, which are highly polluted. Mm-hmm. That's where part of the problem comes in. So the heavy metals and a few other pathogens come with that. But by large, I think we are well regulated as a country. We have Pest Control Products Board, we have CAFIS, we have Crop Life International, Agrochemical Association, AAK Grow. We all work hand in hand to make sure that we overcome such malpractices that could be happening.
It's actually a good thing that you mentioned the issue of regulation, because then the question that I'm sure a lot of our viewers would want to know is, are there specific regulation as far as handling agricultural chemical is concerned?
Agrochemical is a very regulated field. We have Pest Control Products Board who are mandated by an act of parliament to manage that process. And first you have to give quite a lot of scientific data, and on top of it you have to go through a whole rigorous process of testing it in our conditions, our climatic zones, everything science-backed. There are scientists who interrogate the suitability of such products. If they are good enough, they'll be allowed. If they are not good enough, they will be stopped.
All right, so again, we are in a space where we've seen a lot of drought, we're seeing a lot of climatic changes that are happening, not just in Kenya, but globally. And at the same time, we're trying to push for more yields from our farms. So the question that then I would want to know is, is there a relation between the chemicals that a farmer uses and a direct relation to the yields that they get in the end?
No. Chemicals are entirely for pest and disease management. Mm-hmm. So that's determined by the climatic conditions, and yes, they are changing. Mm-hmm. Our bigger problem perhaps is that we are on a rain-fed irrigation. We are on rain-fed agriculture, and rain has become very fluctuating. So we need to look at more of irrigation schemes.
Yeah.
And that perhaps would be the solution. And people who have their own source of water, they're quite in control of what they do.
Mr. Shah, just not long ago we've had a problem of fall armyworms. So for a farmer that maybe was looking for a solution, then what were they supposed to have done? What chemicals should they have used?
Yes, when the emergency comes, first it was tuta absoluta on the tomatoes. We didn't have many solutions because it was a new emerging pest and a pressure that came up. Then we had the fall armyworm. Then we had the locust, narcosis, and a few others. So there is enough research within the country to manage these things. Only thing is, the research is remaining with universities. It is not coming mainstream into commercialization, and we're missing that gap. So if there is a conversation with the universities to avail those researches for its commercialization, and our regulator, if they can, in emergency they do give a window of a quick listing or a quick registration to manage that. Like the locust when it came, it was a terrible situation. So we are in a tropic climate and we will see more pest and disease coming up. A minor pest of yesterday will become a major pest in years to come. And this is why we need to be mindful of knowing what to do when they come. We got to have that information with us.
All right, Mr. Shah, before we wrap up, there's then the question of agricultural chemical and safety and the quality of food safety that is being produced in the country. So from where you sit as a player in this sector, what is the right measures? What needs to happen to ensure that, number one, there is prudent use of agri-chemicals, and number two, that the food that Kenyans are consuming is actually safe?
We as OSHO, we have invested heavily in terms of educating our distributors so that they are giving the right advice. We as OSHO also do a lot of field work to promote our products. So again, we do it very responsibly. The message is safe use, effective use, timely use of chemicals. So that's an investment we as an industry or ourselves at OSHO, we are doing that. Chemicals, if used correctly, there's not much of a problem. If we misuse it, if we abuse it, and that goes with any other, even human pharmaceutical product.
Yeah.
So,
all right. So because again, there is the question of handling. Do you train farmers on how to handle these chemicals?
Yes, we do. That's one of our bigger costs, training farmers, reaching out to them. It's a huge cost to the company, and we take that very seriously, because if we don't do that, we will not solve the problem of misuse and abuse or overuse of chemicals.
All right, Mr. Shah, thank you so much for making time to speak to us and for joining us for this quick interview.
Thank you.
Now, we just want to remind our audience that, our viewers rather, that the finance bill now stands suspended as it was, even as the court case continues. And of course, we'll be giving you more details in terms of what comes out of that court proceeding. We'll take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll be having a different conversation about the issue of private banking. What does it mean? What are the benefits, and what do you need to know about private banking? Stay with us.